G'day, mate. Porter here. So, a little bit tired yesterday evening, so I didn't do a live stream. I just read a book, short little book, about 190 pages, called "You Are Looking Live," about the golden age of the NFL Today show under Brent Musburger with Irv Cross, Jimmy the Greek Snyder, and Phyllis George. Ooh, I get the shivers. I think about that show. It was so good. I think Brent Musburger has my favorite voice in all of broadcasting. It's just so clear and exciting. And he would start the show saying, "You are looking live." And they'd cross to about 8 different stadiums where CBS had live coverage of games starting in about half an hour. So you are looking live at Soldier Field. You are looking live at Texas Stadium. And they just do whip-arounds at all the stadiums where they'd be broadcasting live. And fun read, right? Easy read at the end of a long day, just to kick back and get through the book in less than 2 hours. So here's what stood out to me: how petty Brent Musburger was, or how human. So he was jealous of Phyllis George's popularity, and he would hold it against her, and he would often use his position to hurt, other members of the team. So Brent Musburger was not only the lead announcer on the NFL Today, he was also the managing editor, and he had an unusual skill. He was able to handle a whole bunch of variables, breaking all at once and keep things straight in his head. Very few people could do what he did. But he would use his power to hurt other people. So he was jealous of Phyllis George's popularity, the former Miss America, who became a key part of the NFL Today show. He was jealous of the popularity that Jimmy the Greek Snyder, the odds maker, got. Oh, they talked about going into San Francisco for a playoff game, and the stadium and all the players just kind of came to a halt when Phyllis George walked out. That's how popular she was. Then Van Gordon Sauter, who was the head of WBBM, I believe, in Chicago, where Brent Musburger got his start in TV. Then he took over CBS Sports, and he took over CBS News. And he installed Phyllis George as a co-host on the 7 a.m. CBS News morning show. And the news people hated her because she didn't have a news background. And so they just did absolutely everything they could to sabotage her. And you can't win when everyone in your group is out to sabotage you. And so, they drove her out of the program in a few months. And that was pretty much the end of Phyllis George's public life. Around 1985, she found she had a deadly blood disease that eventually killed her. So Brent Musburger would often use information that was designed to be elaborated upon and broken by other members of the team, and then he would use it, leaving the other members of the team absolutely flustered with nothing to say. And so in particular, he did this to Jimmy the Greek Snyder on their shared radio show, when Jimmy the Greek had this scoop that Jerry Faust, a high school football coach, was about to take over as the head football coach at Notre Dame. And his introduction to Jimmy the Greek, Brent Musburger took the scoop and ran with it, just leaving Jimmy the Greek flabbergasted. And Brent did this over and over and over again. The whole team knew that he did this, stealing credit, stealing other people's words and ideas and scoops to advance himself and to leave other people looking flustered. And so Jimmy the Greek really didn't like it when he saw Brent Musburger at a restaurant, I think in the fall of 1980. He protested. Brent Musburger told him, "Look, I can completely remove you from the show. I've got that kind of power." And so then Jimmy the Greek Snyder took a swing at him And that ended up in the newspapers, and head of CBS Sports loved it because it just provided more publicity. And they began the next NFL Today program, wearing boxing gloves. So they were both professionals, but Brent Musburger never forgot it. So when the opportunity came to take down Jimmy the Greek Snyder in 1989, he did it. So Jimmy the Greek Snyder said some things about why the black athlete is superior to the white athlete that have been said by dozens of respected sources. But it didn't go over well with the elites who dominate our media. Now, if Brent Musburger and the other people behind the NFL Today had come to Jimmy the Greek's defense, he would have kept his job. But Brent Musburger was eager to throw him aside. And CBS Sports made a statement saying that Jimmy the Greek's comments were reprehensible, which is ridiculous and ludicrous. But this largely came about because the NFL Today program was eager to be rid of Jimmy the Greek. And this just provided the impetus. Another part of Brent Musburger's ego is he became an anchorman monster. He just wanted to anchor all of CBS Sports coverage, every important event, including the Masters. And Brent Musburger did not play golf. He had no sense, appreciation, or feeling for the game of golf. He was not a good golf announcer, but he insisted on anchoring Masters coverage on CBS. He also was not a good baseball announcer, but he was an anchorman monster. He just wanted every plum spot in CBS Sports, even though they had a formidable bench of other great sportscasters. Brent just wanted to hog all the spotlight for himself, and I understand that because I have often behaved that way myself. I remember when I was the editor of my high school newspaper, I think on the front page, I put at least 3 byline stories by myself, and no one else got a byline on the front page. So CBS had this monster. Brent Musburger was really smart, really sharp, really good at the top of his game, but he was a monster, and so they decided not to renew his contract. Another thing about Brent Musburger was that he was always a consummate professional. So even though they didn't renew his contract, his last broadcast was Final Four basketball tournament. UNLV won the NC2A men's basketball championship. That was his final broadcast. He just kept absolutely classy. Was a consummate professional. But then, later in the week, after CBS decided not to renew his contract, and this just took everyone by surprise. Then Brent, got bitter and vindictive and turned against the powers that be at CBS Sports. Within a month of losing his gig at CBS, Brent had been hired by ABC and ESPN, where he would work for the next 27 years. But he was not good at the golf commentary, not good at the baseball commentary. Overall, he's known as Big Game Brent. Last I heard, at age 79, Brent Musburger was the voice of the Las Vegas Raiders. Irv Cross essentially retired when CBS lost NFL football. Phyllis George was gone by about 1988. Jayne Kennedy, stunning black woman who took the place of Phyllis George for a couple of years. She made one of the first celebrity sex tapes of the modern era. Apparently made in the 1970s, got released, very poor quality, but still, very graphic, just filled with, hardcore close-ups. Apparently she was equally adept in the bedroom as she was in the broadcasting booth. That got released in 1983, thought to be by her vengeful ex-husband. But her career largely died out once Phyllis George decided she wanted to return to the NFL Today. I just saw a left-wing neighbor of mine with whom I have excellent relations, right? So never gotten into an argument with her about politics. So it just gives me joy, gives me energy to wave hello to her and to have interactions with her. She's a very formidable, accomplished, impressive woman in her own right. But even though we have completely different politics, it doesn't mean that I can't enjoy the best possible relations with her. And it's not necessary to get into arguments about religion and politics.